All right, it's been quite a while since the last time I recorded a video. We'll see how I'm doing with that. I just returned a couple of days ago from a road trip to my hometown, Bangor, Maine. While I was there, I stopped at my favorite used bookstore, Pro Libris. It's been there since, I think, 80 or 81, something like that. Eric still runs it. He's been running it since way back then. I spent countless hours of my youth. I didn't really go to the library for various reasons, but I spent countless hours in Pro Libris poring over all of the various books and spending no small amount of money on books over the years, although his deals were always great. Anyhow, I wanted to make sure I stopped in and picked up a couple of things. I got The Blade Itself, the First Law Trilogy, Book 1 by Joe Abercrombie. Now, I have spoken many a time about how fantasy is not really my genre, but, I do like some. And I've heard a lot of really good stuff about this. It's about 500 pages, which is usually my limit. I have often said that if you can't say it in 250 pages, you probably are saying it wrong. And if you can't say it in 500 pages, you're definitely saying it wrong. I don't need Hemingway-esque brusqueness, but I do appreciate a certain level of efficiency in storytelling. Murderous conspiracies rise to the surface. Old scores are ready to be settled, and the line between hero and villain is sharp enough to draw blood. So, I don't know a ton about this. I think this gets referenced a lot as grimdark, which is a weird phrase that I don't fully understand. Okay, author photo makes him look like a tech bro, but, that's not... whatever. I mean, my author photo just makes me look like a goober. All right. Lord of the Rings as directed by Kurosawa, according to the Wall Street Journal. Sure. So a lot of pages of praise for various things. Here we go. Da-da-da. So yeah, I don't know a ton about this. I just know that a lot of folks seem to really enjoy it. I must be doing some clever things as we start with the end. Yeah. We'll see. Joe Abercrombie. Who knows when I'm going to get around to this. I have been, I think I maybe mentioned it in a previous thing, but this has been my travel book since I moved to DC almost a year ago at time of recording. Whenever I'm commuting, which is very rare now, I toss this in my backpack and I try to read this while I'm on the bus or something. But frankly, I tend to read more when I'm on the train. I'm not on the train very much anymore. So I just, I'm taking a bus or I'm taking a train for like 5 minutes. It's not my old hour-long commute anymore. So I'm not getting nearly as much reading done as I should. I really need to get my act together. I'm still reading. I'm better at reading nonfiction when I'm at home, so I've been reading this because I can pick it up and put it down without losing the beat. Anyway, while I was there, Rebecca saw this book. She actually saw another one that I was really interested in too, but we just ended up going with the two. She found this book, The Harvey Girls, Women Who Opened the West. Now, we watched a movie, I want to say Judy Garland, but I could be full of crap, about the Harvey Girls. And it's a really interesting story. Yeah, from the 1880s to the 1950s, the Harvey Girls went west to work in Fred Harvey's restaurants along the Santa Fe Railway. At a time when there were no ladies west of Dodge City and no women west of Albuquerque, they came as waitresses, but many stayed and settled, founding the struggling cattle and mining towns that dotted the region. Interviews, historic research, and photographs help recreate the Harvey Girl experience. The accounts are personal but laced with the history the women lived, the Dust Bowl, the Depression, and anecdotes about some of the many famous people who ate at their restaurants. Teddy Roosevelt, Shirley Temple, Bob Hope, to name a few. The Harvey Girls was awarded the winner of the 1991 New Mexico Press Women ZIA Award. I've never heard of that. This is by Leslie Poling Kemps. Was a writer, geez Louise, I can't read. Leslie Poling Kemps has written, produced, and directed many documentaries. She lives in New Mexico. That is as of whenever this was published, which would have been in 1991. So this looks interesting. I actually would like to read this. I'm always interested in these pieces of history that we tend to forget, the stories that don't tend to get taught in schools. Okay. Not that any of these stories are going to be taught in schools anymore, but, but when we had schools where people could learn about history and not just recite what's popular with the ruling elite, when we had those schools, these are really interesting bits of history to learn that tend to get left out. And so I'm definitely interested in checking this out. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to reading that, but it seems interesting. All right. Couple of used books picked up at one of my favorite shops. Eric, I don't want to speak to anybody's life, but I'm guessing he's probably heading toward retirement. The store's been around for a long time, and I don't know how often I'm going to get back up to Maine, so that might have been my last visit for all I know. I really don't know. So who knows? Anyway, it was a great shop. So many memories from my childhood and young adulthood wrapped up there. It was good to go back. So until next time, take care.